Good time to go to watchthejunkies.com. You'll see our in-studio guests. We're joined by Nemr. He is making his U.S. comedy tour debut.
Yes,
his
sir.
DC Improv
Hold
debut
on, is that true?
tonight.
Yeah.
You can go to DCImprov.com. Still a few tickets left for tonight's performance.
I'm
By the way,
clueless.
before we get
He
into
just
it with
moved
him,
from Lebanon a year and a half ago.
who does he look a little bit like, NFL-wise?
You did remind me of somebody when I
He
saw
walked in,
you.
because he's kind
This
of
I
tall.
want to know because I've never heard this.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'5".
Okay, he's 6'5". I think he's not a
54.
dead ringer for this guy, but he looks similar.
Similar?
To him.
All right,
you
what
going-
position?
I mean,
What
this is a
position?
stretch.
Quarterback.
Can you test the verdi?
No.
No, is he a current quarterback?
Current quarterback in the news recently.
Peyton Manning.
No.
Tell you, he is Brock Osweiler's doppelganger.
Brock
I
Osweiler.
don't see that.
I think he looks.
Brock Osweiler looks like the guy from Twilight.
I think he looks kind of like him.
Do a side by side, Valdez.
We need
okay?
that.
Of Nemr and
I'm very curious.
I mean,
You
if
know
you're
what I
doing,
wanna bring
if you're
up,
doing
though?
NFL quarterback comps, that's his
I
guy.
was just thinking about this during the break. So, we grew up together. We have these arguments all the time. That's part of our show. And we had an argument a couple years ago, Cakes and I. I said at some point that I would travel to Lebanon, and Cakes just slammed me, attacked me.
I did.
And because I said
I'm afraid
I said,
to go anywhere.
Because I said that there's parts of Lebanon that are beautiful, and he
Of
just was
course.
like, "You're an idiot." The only place he'll go to is to the Lebanese
And Nimmer's
Taverna, which is in Rockville.
Nimmer's
All
Lebanese.
right?
Yo, can I say shout out the Lebanese Taverna? The owners of it were my neighbors in Lebanon. I want to give them a
Really?
shout out.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
You're
for
not.
real.
You're kidding.
No, right. I opened my door in my building, and they were on the door right across.
So,
So
it's
hold
not
on.
so
Tanios
Lebanese
and all of them.
Taverna is not like an Americanized version of
No,
Lebanese.
that's
it's
legit.
the real thing.
Right, but
That's
hold
legit.
on.
Shout out to them.
The Lebanese Taverna, which is the original one? The one in D.C., the one in how many are there?
I don't know how many there are. I just know the one in D.C., the really famous one, was theirs. And after they had established it in D.C., they had a house in Lebanon. A lot of Lebanese people do this. We live in multiple places.
Yeah.
So we're children of the world. So they had a house in Lebanon,
Okay.
a house obviously here in D.C.
Because that's
I
a
love
popular franchise
Yeah.
here.
Who doesn't
Lebanese
love
Taverna.
chicken shawarma?
I
know
love
I do. I'm a big fan.
All right, but
I've
hold
never
on.
been to Lebanon, but I know that.
But
you
you slammed Lebanon.
Okay.
Slammed it.
I'm talking about.
Like saying it's a country of ruins.
He's afraid of terrorism
All I
and
know about
everything.
is the war-torn aspect
Like
of
he
it. I don't know
mocked
anything
me. I was like,
else about it.
I actually don't even know much about it, but I was like, there's probably nice beaches, and he just ridiculed me.
Yeah, I mean, it's because I lash out at what I don't know very much about.
Brilliant.
It's kind of what I do.
Right.
It's beautiful. I can tell you that. You were right there, and there was, of course, have every right to be afraid of
Thank
the threat
you.
of war,
Thank you,
which is no
Nemr.
longer the case, thankfully. But I mean,
Right.
I'm guessing when you were younger, which is you said you were kids having this debate.
Oh no, it's probably like 2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago.
Relatively
I don't
Oh, no,
even
she's just
know.
grossly misinformed.
I'm
As I am with a
Googling
lot of
Lebanon
things.
right now. I literally don't know what neighbors it board. I don't know anything.
We're on
What's
the
near
border,
it?
Syria and Israel. We're in between the two and the sea.
Yeah, I think I'm staying here.
Yeah, we have great neighbors.
Well, there's a reason he lives in Los Angeles now.
Well,
Well, he said he has multiple homes.
no, I spend a lot of my time between Lebanon and here. Let me tell you, Lebanon is absolutely stunning. It's a Mediterranean country, so it's very beach. People are beautiful. The food's delicious. You've already sampled it here, and it's all about partying and having a great time. Let me tell you.
I always felt that
kinda
when I went
selling
to.
me on it.
I don't frequent Lebanese Taverna that often, but I always felt like when I often it was just an Americanized ripoff. But you're saying it's legit.
It's legit. It's the real
legit.
thing.
It's a legit ripoff.
No, I feel like I knew that because I always saw Lebanese donks back there.
Like I
working.
love Moby Dick, and I don't know what Moby Dick. I think Moby Dick may be Persian.
I mean, I don't know.
Because when you walk in there, they have the Tehran Post. Okay.
That
But
don't
I
know
always
anything
feel
about.
like that's got to be fake. It's just a good franchise. They have great rice.
I don't know.
I have no comment on Moby Dick.
All right, hold on. I have a question. So
Yes,
this is
sir.
your U.S. comedy debut tour, but
Yes, sir.
you've obviously done stand up here in the U.S.
Even in D.C., I was at the Howard Theater last year.
Okay, so I don't understand then. What's the billing debut tour?
It's
I don't
his
get it.
DC Improv debut.
No, it's
No,
my
it's a
it's
tour.
my it's my debut tour. So
It's
I've
not
never
like
toured
individual
the US.
contracting. Like he's hitting a bunch of spots.
So when I came to
Right.
the Howard Theater, that was all I had going on.
Right.
I did a show in Michigan
Howard
and a
Theater
show.
and then just go home.
And then went back to Los Angeles. We were just testing waters and trying to
Right.
see,
Yeah.
trying to discover. I mean, I'm huge in the Middle East, but I don't have that ego that I will come to America and everyone will, So I had I was just seeing if I had a following, how to reach into the community and all of that
So
stuff.
where are the big rooms to play in the Middle East outside of Lebanon? I'm being serious.
That's a great question.
I need to know these things.
Everywhere. I mean, when I started doing stand up, nobody had done it before. So every room, quote unquote, or theater ended up being absolutely massive because they were set up for like opera houses or huge concerts.
Right.
So everywhere I go, it's not a comedy club. It has to be like 2,000, 3,000 seaters, kind of like big theaters.
And you're packing them.
Oh yeah, multiple nights, of
Do
course.
you get
That is
nervous?
ridiculous.
Or no, you're such a pro now, you don't get nervous.
I used to get very nervous.
Right.
It's now been it's been 10 years of nerves. I mean, this is my 7th special that I'm doing right now.
Right.
So my 7th show. So I have enough backlog of material. I don't have to get nervous anymore.
Right, because you know you got something that'll work.
I always got something I can fall back on. But in the beginning, it was very nerve-wracking because I had the whole industry on my shoulders. So I knew if I gave one bad performance, people didn't come into the show to have a great time. They came in and were like, okay, let's see what all this noise is about.
Is
You know, and
the
they come in.
content there different than your content here?
No, because this is something a lot of people ask me. American culture is huge in the Middle East. Nobody knows this, which is very funny to me. But American culture is the biggest shows in the Middle East during their respective times were Friends, Seinfeld, and still
Do
to
you
this
all
day.
have Keeping Up with the Kardashians?
Yes, and it's huge there. And we
Is
even
it?
have a Lebanese version, which is a disaster.
You do?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have your own
I think it's been
Lebanese
canceled.
family that's like the Kardashians? Is that what you mean?
They try to be. I think I made so much fun of them that they canceled the show. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
It was a disaster.
How did you get your start?
Well, I used to perform in my university on college campuses and stuff like that. And
But
then,
how did you even know that? How did you know, hey,
well,
I want to try comedy?
I grew up in San Diego. So when I was
Okay.
4, I was watching Dana Carvey on HBO doing these comedy specials. My parents were watching. They used to watch a lot of stand-up. My mom loved Woody Allen,
Right.
and other comics from back in the day when she was growing up in London. So I had it around me as a culture, and I always said I wanted to be either a Ninja Turtle or a stand-up comedian.
I think you made the better
I'm not
choice.
giving up on this Ninja Turtle part.
What did your parents do for a living?
My dad's a civil mechanical engineer, and my mom was a fashion model.
So did you go?
Wow.
Your mom's hot.
She was very hot.
Yeah.
So
Still
did
is.
your dad,
Still is very hot. This is
did
very
your dad
inappropriate.
do the
but-
whole, why are you wasting your time being a comedian thing, or was he
Definitely.
supportive?
In the
Yeah.
beginning, no. In the beginning, because I wasn't being a comedian here. I was like, Dad, I'm going to leave this family business where I'm making a lot of money, and I established it with you to be a stand-up comic in English without doing any politics or religion in the Middle East where it's never been done before. And he was like, okay, so you're a complete idiot. It's fantastic. And that was pretty. He was pretty convinced I was going to be a clown, basically.
Right.
How do you pull it off with no politics and no religion?
Well, everybody, all they do there is they divide people by talking politics and religion. The reason that I felt I had to do stand up there was I felt we could actually change culturally, make a huge impact, bring a lot of people together in a way that they've never been brought together, and it worked. It worked very fast because there's a thirst and a hunger for people to be united, not the other way around. So I just make jokes about. I consider politics and religion to be the symptoms of the underlying society that we have. Like, this is the way we act results in these political problems or religious problems. So I deal with what's more dangerous, if you ask me, which is, relationships and how we are in our families and everything. You can draw your conclusions from that, but I don't sit and talk about what divides us. I make people laugh together in a room, and they've never sat together in a room for a while. And it brought a lot of people together over the past 10
Is
years.
it considered kind of like are there a lot of comics in Lebanon, or is it
All
considered-
over the Middle East, you have comedians, but they're not stand-up comics. You have like sketch comics. They do TV shows, stuff like that.
Right.
If there's a theater quote unquote performance, it's a group of comics, doing like different characters, and it's not stand-up comedy. It's like a play. So to be able to go up and stand there, I mean, my first difficulty when I was establishing it, where people were like, people who didn't know about the culture of stand-up comedy were like, why am I going to pay $50 or $20 or whatever to see one guy on stage where I could pay the same amount? There's a whole band. That was their
right.
They just didn't get the concept of a stand-up
just a
comedian.
dude with a microphone. Why am I
Right.
going to pay money to see this guy? And I mean, in Lebanon, it was easier because Lebanon is a country of people who've been displaced by war. I mean, we have 14 million people, 18 million outside the country, and 4 million in. So everybody in the country speaks English. We've all lived in America, and English, as you can tell, my accent,
Right.
it's very American. I went to the American University of Beirut, et cetera, et cetera. So it wasn't that difficult. But pushing it out to like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Jordan, Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, all of these countries, it was much more difficult. But as soon as we went there, boom.
They
See,
love
Cakes,
probably cleaning
he was
up
thinking
cakes.
about this, Cakes. See, we call him Box because he lives in his box.
Yeah.
And
It's
does
very
the same
comfortable.
things every year.
It's a nice
same
box.
It
vacations
is.
every year.
It is.
But so his box for a significant period of his life was actually San Diego,
Right.
Yeah.
which you've actually been
Wow,
to San
San
Diego
Diego's
for Super
beautiful.
Bowl.
It's beautiful.
It's
And
amazing.
He actually opened up the door and left that box to go to Qatar and Lebanon and all those places.
Good for him. I applaud him. He's spreading his comedy.
Could you imagine that?
No.
Would you like to have his life?
No. He's got an amazing life, but that's for
That's
him.
it for-
But
it's not for me.
he's
It's
probably
not for
killing.
me.
Think about it. Think about all those places where he's touring.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of dough in those places where he's touring.
He's probably playing for like Saudi princes, like private shows.
Right.
I mean, corporate gigs.
Well, to be
It's-
honest with you, with
sure.
you, they've attended.
Yeah.
But my comedy, this is very interesting. I always make sure that my tickets are not expensive
Okay.
Mhm.
so that everybody can see it because I'm interested in reaching the masses. And as a result of that, it took a while before like the aristocracy actually came and checked out the shows because they were like, I'm not going to go to an event where the ticket's $50. Like it has to be $500, $600.
Also, it's beneath them to
It's
pay.
beneath them to
Right.
even come there. And then when they did start coming, they obviously didn't even buy a ticket. We had to invite them. But I mean, but the way it works is that, I mean, what I'm proud of and the reason we get so many tens of thousands into these shows and these big arenas happen, everything is because it's been accessible since day one. And even now, like in this tour, when I go to the Middle East, there's always a $20 ticket, no matter how big the venue is.
So I'm trying
That's
to figure
cool.
out. So you're
Yeah.
in D.C. You're at the D.C. Improv
Yes,
tonight.
sir.
DCimprov.com for tickets if there are any left.
Yes, sir.
That's a smaller room. We love the D.C.
Yeah.
Improv. But you're in D.C. They had, I don't even know what it was called, APAC, right? And all these
Yeah.
people are talking about Israel
Yeah.
yesterday, all the presidential candidates. So
Yeah.
how do you avoid politics when you're in D.C.?
Well, I mean,
You just say, screw it?
Yeah, I just
Not
don't.
touching
I
it.
just don't bring it up
Yeah, it's
because
just not your
obviously,
thing.
if you're talking about AIPAC, which is an Israeli lobby, if you're talking
Right.
about any other organization, you can't discuss these without getting political.
Right.
And to say the politics in the region are a mess is an understatement. And to say that any party you're pro or anti is
Right.
is ridiculous. I've lived there. I can tell you one unequivocal truth: people die. So it doesn't really matter who you're with or who you're against. The bullets don't discriminate. So
Right.
as far as I'm concerned, I like to talk about what brings people together. As soon as I'm on that stage, from the second I start until I end, you don't have time to think about politics because I'm just coming forward with a lot of funny stuff about life that a lot of people didn't even consider. And then they realize that we've been caught up with all this politics this whole time. We kind of forgot about what makes life great.
Are you friends with any American comics?
Of course.
Like, who are some of the comics? I mean, it's a serious question. Like, who are you buddies with?
Who my buddies
That we
with?
know. That we know.
I don't know if you guys would know him. I'm not friends with any famous comics.
That's kind of my question.
Yeah,
like, who-
no.
like, has the established?
I mean, I'm friends with Arab American comics because they've come out to the Middle East. I've done
Right.
shows and brought them out and stuff like that. But
He's
I mean,
also only been here a year and a half.
I've only been
Well,
in Los Angeles. There's a lot of. I don't know if you know them, but I mean,
Right.
there's
Are you
there-
friends with Danny Rouillet, who follows us here on 106.7 The Fan?
I am his biggest fan.
There you
I
go.
love him. He's fantastic.
You need
Love
to
that
follow
guy.
this kid Talib because apparently he's the big silly.
Also,
Yes. Okay. No, I'm just curious. Like, because I'm wondering what the reception is of kind of the mainstream comics here to you.
I mean, I've met a lot of them. We've hung out, but I mean,
Right.
when you ask me if I'm
Right,
a
right,
friend,
right.
I'm not going to come and like name drop
no,
people.
no. I
that,
think you
know.
should be honest, though.
Yeah,
but,
no, 100%. No, my reception has been incredible.
Yeah,
I mean, when
everyone's been cool.
Before this tour, I've been performing mainly in American clubs without announcing my presence, so I'm not bringing in my crowd.
Right.
And the purpose of that was to create a show that is not for my Arabs. I mean, I came from the Middle East here not to make money. I came from the Middle East here to spread this comedy across the globe.
Yeah, it
so it's
sounds
very
like you're
important.
doing your thing. Like, immediately I would think, oh, he's probably doing airport shtick and all that
No,
type of stuff.
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not doing whatever you've heard Arab American comics do is not at all what my if you guys are free tonight, I'd love to invite you to the show to see it for yourself, but I can tell you it is not a show that you've ever heard anything like it before because I'm not an Arab American, I'm not an American, and I'm not an Arab. What I am is I'm a kid who grew up in America. I went to the Middle East. I had this crazy adventure, and I'm back. So when I'm here, I'm American,
Right.
in my perspective. But my perspective is of an American who went and lived most of his life in the Middle East and came back.
Right.
I'm more of a child of the world than I would consider like multiple places. My perspective is very different.
Right. All right. It's very
He's
cool.
hit far
Yes.
more continents than you'll ever hit.
Oh, it's not even close.
Yeah, you
He's
got no
already-
shot.
he's-
You got
he's-
no
He's
shot.
13 years younger. He's
Yeah.
already got me beat.
You'll never
That's
catch
fine,
him. You'll
but I'm-
never ever catch him. If he died right
You know
now.
what? It's fine. I'm
Yeah.
fine with that.
I know. I know.
Well,
It
never,
is what
man.
it is.
Thanks
Neither
a lot
will
for
I.
dropping by. You can go out and see him at the DC Improv tonight. Go
Yes,
to
sir.
DCimprov.com for tickets. And he'll actually be able to post you up, too, man. He's a tall
He's a
dude.
big dude.
Thanks
Thanks
you
a
guys.
lot for joining us.
Thank you for
Never.
having me. Such a pleasure.
We'll be right back.